ratio 10:1, we used aminoprenol 7. And in the first step, we tested toxicity of those new carriers. And as a model, we used Sprague-Dawley rats, and we found them non-toxic for living organisms, at least in a range of measured parameters. So we moved to the second step, in which we wanted to see if they are useful for as a component of liposomes. And unfortunately, I cannot tell you what drug we used because part of this research will be used in a patent application. But I can tell you that it was a hydrophobic drug with antihypertensive activity. It's administered orally, usually, and it shows poor bioavailability after oral administration. So we changed the route of the administration from oral to subcutaneous. And we wanted to see how it will affect the encapsulation in our novel carriers, will affect its antihypertensive activity. So as a model, we use spontaneously hypertensive rats. And after telemetry transmitter implantation for very precise blood pressure measurements and 7 days of recovery, we injected our rats daily, subcutaneously, with tested compounds. Every 2 days, we measured systolic blood pressure, we collected blood samples, and we observed each animal in metabolic cage. And after 14 days, we performed acute experiments in which, under anesthesia and after surgical preparations, we evaluated renal hemodynamics, and we also harvested tissues for morphometric and morphology analysis. We harvested tissues like kidneys and heart. And we designed 4 experimental groups. First received the compound, antihypertensive compound, in liposomes with aminoprenols. Second group received the compound in liposomes without aminoprenols. So we wanted to see how aminoprenols will affect properties of our novel carriers. Third group received the drug in a solvent, and as a control, we just injected solvent. And like I said, the most important parameter to measure in this experiment was systolic blood pressure. And this graph depicts the changes in systolic blood pressure through the whole experiment. And as you can see, black line represents the group, the effectiveness of the drug encapsulated in our novel carriers. And after 4 or 6 days, we could observe that the decrease in systolic blood pressure was the greatest in this group. And what's interesting and important for us, for other groups which received the antihypertensive drug, after 4 or 6 days, we observed the stabilization of systolic blood pressure, for the group which received the drug in our liposomes, we could observe progressive decrease in systolic blood pressure almost to the end of the experiment. And we also calculated area under the curve of systolic blood pressure, and the highest value we obtained also in a group which received the drug in our novel carriers. And this difference was close to the set level of statistical significance. So we think that it also might be important. The interesting result also we obtained in plasma creatinine, which is a very typical and well-recognized biomarker to assess kidney function. And only in a group which received the drug in our novel carriers, we observed decrease in this parameter, which might mean, suggest some renal protective activity of aminoprenols per se. But to confirm this hypothesis, we need further research. And we also performed morphology analysis, and for that we stained harvested kidney slices with hematoxylin and eosin. And we observed significant tissue loss in almost all groups. But this is a quite typical and well-observed phenomenon in SHRs. This nephrosclerosis process is probably caused by progressive tubulointerstitial inflammatory process. But detailed analysis of all cases revealed that The least damage we observed in a group which received the antihypertensive drugs in our novel carriers. As you can see, in 5 out of 8 kidneys, we did not observe any changes, and in 1 out of 8, only significant tissue loss. And in other groups, we could observe that this tissue damage was more pronounced. And to finish with talking about my results, I would like to show you some results we obtained during the preparation process of our liposomes. We observed that addition of aminoprenol significantly improved loading capacity of liposomes, which we think is very valuable for any drug delivery system. And we also tested stability of prepared carriers, but only in few samples. So we need to repeat this analysis. But so far, the results are very promising. We did not observe any drug leaking and no aggregates formation. So we think it's very, very promising. So to quickly sum up, we could observe that the drug encapsulated in novel carriers exhibited superior antihypertensive activity. And additionally, aminoprenols improved biophysical properties of new carriers. So we think that they might be suitable as components of liposomal drug delivery systems, but we need further research to confirm this. And I would like to thank my colleagues from Laboratory of Renal and Body Fluid Physiology and scientists from Department of Lipid Biochemistry. And I would like to thank you for your attention.
Do you have any questions?
I'm not quite sure, maybe I misunderstood. You made liposomes only with DOPE?
Yes. DOPE and aminoprenol.
In what ratio?
10 to 1.
10 DOPE?
10 DOPE and 1 aminoprenol. This was...
you sure you got liposomes?
Yes, we
because wait a minute, I mean, DOPE alone does not form liposomes.
But
DOPE alone forms inverted hexagonophases, not liposomes. And for example, you have to mix DOPE 50-50 with cholesterol when you get liposomes. Now, if you have only 10 mole% of your cationic derivative, I still have some doubts that you really have liposomes. You might have only hexagonophases. Have you measured the encapsulation efficiency, the inner volume of the liposomes? Have you visualized them?
Unfortunately, the department responsible for all liposomal suspensions did the research, and I'm a physiologist, so I'm talking to the wrong person. No, but we did by HPLC method. We measured the amount of the drug encapsulated, but unfortunately, I don't think they tested the
No, hexagonal phases also incorporate drugs. So it means you cannot
to be honest, it's new for me, and I will have to investigate this further because I've never heard about this before. I thought we have liposomes, so we used an extract.
Sorry to break the news.
I will definitely investigate this further. Thank you.
But anyway, it's improved delivery, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any more questions? All right. Thank you very much, Olga.
Thank you.
Thank you.